Episode 59, The Other Side of the Wall. The military denies the facts revealed in Grisha Yeager's diaries, and the military police regiment is largely opposed to sharing their contents with the general population of the walls. However, Dot Pixis points out that this would make them equal to the previous kings and leave the population docile and ignorant. Queen Historia Rice decides to reveal the truth, reasoning that they would simply return the memories that King Rice had taken from her. The people of the walls will share the same fate, which is why he wants them to unite. As the news breaks, Hanji and Levi meet with Roy and Pior, who try to digest the truth that the rest of the population is now learning. Pior fears that shortly they will be invaded by an enemy intent on seizing their land and resources, and that their attack began 5 years ago with the arrival of the Colossal Titan. Roy is more concerned about the credibility of the Scout Regiment's information, but Hang finds it consistent with what they already know. According to Roy, reactions from the general population varied. Some people accept it, some don't, and some think it's a conspiracy. The situation within the walls is now chaotic. Hanga is sympathetic but acknowledges that it is the Boy Scouts' job to report their results and that it is up to the taxpayers to decide what to do with them, and that is something they do better than the previous one king. Roy finds him admirable, which embarrasses Hange. Levi asks him to write an article that will give them a pat on the back next time. Seriously, Roy wonders what will become of them now that the rest of the world looks at them the way the Titans used to. At a military ceremony, Hitchdries greets several of the surviving scouts and calls them heroes of the walls. They are surprised to see her, and Jean Kirstein tries to say a few comforting words about Marlo Freudenberg and tells her that she is brave until the end. He encourages Floch to confirm this, but although Floch acknowledges that Marlo was an inspiration in her final moments, he suspects that Marlo must have regretted her decisions in the end. Annoyed, Hitch leaves, saying he would laugh if Floch ruined the ceremony. John berates Floch for his insensitive comments, but Floch defends his actions and says that someone has to tell the truth. It's the same as choosing between saving Erwin Smith and Armin Arlelt. Floch tells Armin that he believes the commander should have been saved and that he is not the only one, stating that most people who have read the Scouts' report agree with him. Eren Yeager tries to defend Armin and asks Floch what he knows about him, but Floch explains that that's why he doesn't trust his choice. Floch admits that he doesn't know Armin and that he is not Armin's childhood friend, but this has nothing to do with the reason why Armin was saved. Floch believes that Armin was only saved because Eren, Mikasa, Ackerman, and Levi allowed it to have his feelings take over. In the way, Eren begins to escalate the situation, approaching Floch and telling him to shut up, but Floch refuses to give in and accuses Eren of thinking that he is always right and therefore never gives up. As Mikasa tries to calm Eren down, Floch praises Mikasa for acting more like an adult compared to Eren, as at least she gave in the end. This statement and realization surprises Mikasa and causes her to back away. Jean separates them before their confrontation can continue, asking Floch not to do this at a funeral for his fallen comrades, and Connie Springer tries to calm the situation by explaining that dredging up the past won't help. But Floch isn't done yet, pointing out that while Jean and Connie didn't act against their superiors, they made no effort to stop Eren and Mikasa. They just looked, and the realization shocked them both. He asks why they are getting medals and who this funeral is actually for. Floch wants the scouts to tell the truth before more recruits like him get involved. He understands that someone like him is expendable, but he still believes he has the right to call him what he sees him and decide if this cause is worth dying for. Armin silently agrees with Floch and says that Erwin should have lived. Eren tries to cheer Armin up by telling him what lies beyond the walls. Things like the sea, burning water, and lands made of ice. He begins to say that there is freedom beyond the walls, but abruptly stops when memories of his father come to mind and he remembers what happened to Faye. Levi then interrupts and tells his team that it's time to line up. The 9 surviving scouts kneel before Historia, who presents each of them with a medal. As he hands them over, Eren wonders what they found in the basement, whether it was hope or despair. He knows he could sacrifice his own life if it would make a difference, but he can't do the same with Historia. Eren doesn't know what to do, and he doesn't feel like he can talk to anyone about it. After Historia places the medal around his neck, he kisses her hand, triggering another memory from his father. He sees the Rice family in the underground chapel as Grisha announces that he is an Eldian from outside the walls. Grisha begs the King of the Walls to kill the attacking Titans before he loses his wife and children and the rest of the Wall's inhabitants die. Eren reels as he sees the memory, and Historia and the other scouts notice that something is wrong. Time passes, and as winter comes, the giant sleigh that crushes the Titans outside the district of Trost falls silent. In the spring, the army announced that the Titans within Wall Maria had been eradicated and that the refugees would be allowed to return to their homeland 1 year after the attack on Trost. Now, 6 years after the Colossal Titan's first appearance, the Scout Regiment is finally able to explore the lands outside of Wall Maria. As Hanji suspected, almost all of the Titans within Wall Maria had moved when given the opportunity, leaving the land outside largely free of them. But as they ride, a signal sounds, putting the regiment on alert. However, when they reach him, the Titan is virtually motionless due to the size of his limbs. You can see the depression he made in his path, but his movement was so slow that grass and small shoots grew in the furrow behind him. Eren approaches without fear and touches her head. He lets everyone know that it was a fellow countryman who was sent to paradise. He tells them to keep going and that they are close. Floch says they should kill the Titan. The explorers leave the Titan without killing it and follow its trail until they reach the dunes of Grisha's memory. There, they see the wall where the restorers were pushed and turned into Titans. Hang shows her around and takes her to a viewpoint overlooking the ocean. Everyone is stunned when they see a mass of water reaching to the horizon. They go down to the shore where Armin sees a shell. Connie pours water on Sasha Brous while Jean complains about how salty it is. Hang is surprised that the entire sea is salt water and sees something that Levi warns them to stay away from, suspecting it might be poisonous. Even Mikasa smiles as she gets used to standing in the waves. Excitedly, Armin tells Eren that it's exactly what he said. The sea is a salt lake that traders could spend a lifetime collecting without getting all the salt. Armin's dreams about the outside world were not all unfounded. However, Eren is thoughtful. Remember, I used to believe that they would find freedom on the other side of the wall. But now, after exploring the walls and seeing his father's memories, all Eren can think about is the enemies that await him. Eren points out into the distance and wearily asks, if they kill all their enemies on the far side of the ocean, will they finally be free? Season 3. Completed.